Hello everyone, and welcome to our first module of database design. We're going to begin going through chapter 2 of our textbook, starting at page 33. This module is going to cover pages 33 through 37 of our textbook, where we begin learning how to take a table design that may be fully extrapolated and write it in something that's more shorthand. So, for example here, we have a database that we're going to begin working in quite frequently called Cape Cod. It's got 3 tables in it, as we can see. But we're going to begin working on retail order here. So you could write out a table in full description. You've got retail order and then, some kind of header, and then actually write out order number and store zip and all that mess. But that takes up a lot of space, and there is an actual faster shorthand for expressing this. So we're going to begin by teaching you how to express this in more of a shorthand format that we're going to be using for the rest of the class. So what we're going to do is begin with retail order, since that's the name of the table, and then an open parentheses, because we're going to begin listing the fields that are in this table. So the parentheses tell us these fields belong to this table. So then we begin listing the fields that are in the database, and we're going to start with order number and store number and so on, in the order they come in. Zip, order month, order year, order total. And we close the parentheses to let us know that we're done listing the fields. So these are the 6 fields. They belong to this table, very much as you see here. Now there is one hitch that some of you may have noticed already, in that order number is a key for this table, and that we are not representing this anywhere in here. Well, there is a way to show that, and that is by underlining the field, like so. So now we know this is the name of the table, these are the fields that are in it, and this one is the primary key. So from this single line of text, you could actually reproduce what's over here, and vice versa, as we just did. So let's try this again with the next table, order item. Now we're going to use this example we did up here as a boilerplate. And what I mean by a boilerplate is that we've seen something demonstrated, and we're going to use that as an example to do more. And a lot of the SQL queries that we're going to go over in this chapter and in some of the other chapters are going to serve as boilerplates for the work that you guys will be doing as part of your in-class exercises and your homework and so on. So let's continue. To start the shorthand, we're going to call it order item, since that's the name of the table. Open parentheses, since we're going to start listing fields, and then we start just listing the fields. Order number, SKU. SKU is the same thing as like an item number or barcode. Stock keeping unit, I believe, is what it's short for. Quantity, price, and extended price. That's the table. These are the 5 fields. Now, you may notice that this has 2 fields listed as the primary key. Now, it's important that you guys realize that this is not 2 primary keys. There is no such thing as a table with 2 primary keys. You can only have 1 primary key per table, but this key is spread across multiple fields. We call this a composite primary key. Now, I'll give you guys an example. Retail order number is a primary key. And that means that order number has to be unique, right? So if I have an order for a store, and that's order number 1, someone else can't come in and open another order number 1 because one already exists. But for order item, the combination has to be unique, and I'll demonstrate what I mean by this. So we'll put in a table with a few records, and I'll call this order number and SKU. So let's say that order number 1 has ordered a couple items. So we've got order number 1 has ordered item 1001, and order number 1 has ordered item 1002. So by listing all of the items that order number 1 has ordered, I know they ordered this and they ordered that. Now, if I wanted to add another 1001 to order 1, I couldn't do that because that already exists here. So this violates the primary key rule because the order number and SKU combination has to be unique. So I can't add another order number 1, SKU 1001, because one already exists. So that's how a composite primary key works. In this case, what I would do is, and what they do here is quantity. So I've ordered one of these and one of these. So if I want to order another one, I just increase, whoops, not that. I just increase the quantity. And I don't need to actually violate a primary key to order more of what I already had. So that's a small aside. Let's continue with the third item, which is SKU data. So again, start with the name of the table, SKU data. Open the parentheses and list the fields. SKU description, department, and buyer. Of course, it helps if you spell correctly too. Close the parentheses. My table has 4 fields, and we're going to list the primary key, which is SKU. You can see the key here by underlining it. Likewise, in Access, you should be able to take this shorthand and actually recreate this table. So that's how we represent a table using a shorthand. Now, these 3 listings here comprise the entirety of the Cape Cod database, and we call that a schema. A schema is a listing of the entire structure of a database. So stick around and we'll continue by working with SQL.